I'm Matt Early from Gotta Groove Records in Cleveland, Ohio. We are a pressing plant. We run 8 machines, 2 shifts, and we've been around since 2009. My job title is Vice President of Sales and Marketing. So obviously I do sales, but I do project management, I answer the phone. I mean, really, if you are a customer coming to us, you're going to be dealing with me the whole time. I'm not the person cutting the records, but I am the person interfacing with, well, when you hire us to cut the record, that is, with Clint Holly. He's our in-house cutter. So I'm the guy that's interfacing with him, but really I'm kind of like the first line, whether it's placing orders, submitting files, questions, or if there's problems, I'm still the same guy. So it's a lot of hats. I worked for wholesale since 2000. Right out of college, I started at a place called Campus Records, which was a one-stop in Columbus, Ohio. They got purchased by Arrow, which was another one-stop, who turned into Edge, who eventually got bought out by Alliance. So for all those years, I was in wholesale, selling to independent record stores. Vinyl was always important. I mean, even back in 2000, at Campus Records, a lot of my customers were vinyl only at that point, and that was 2000. And it was pretty unheard of for an indie store to be vinyl only, but over the years it just grew. And then especially towards the end there in 2007, 2008, the majors started adding titles from their back catalog that they were going to keep in print on vinyl. That's when it really started to explode. So I just started scouring the planet for pressing machines at that point. And yeah, it was a good decision in retrospect now. It's been said a few times at the conference that vinyl is not a perfect format. And I would love to say otherwise. We like to say that we make it as perfect as possible. But at the end of the day, since you really can't listen to every single record off the press, I still think it's going to be less than 1 or 2%, but in any given run, there may be a problem here or there. And with the internet, and anybody can say anything they want, sometimes it's challenging if you happen to be that one person that got that record with a problem, which I feel for that. I buy records, and I would be totally bummed if I bought a record with a problem. But it's difficult because a lot of people did put a lot of time into making sure that the records could be as best as they could be. And so it doesn't always mean that the entire run it has a problem. So I guess if I could convey just having some perspective, and now if you bought 2 records of the same title and they both have the same problem, erase everything I just said. That's a totally different story. But no, it's a format that you're going to probably have problems once in a while if you buy a lot of records. And I'm not saying that I'm not sympathetic to that, but at the same time, the reality of the manufacturing process just kind of lends itself to that. And that's, for better or worse, it's final. We listen to a ton of records. I mean, we listen to more records than any pressing plant that I've visited. I've visited almost all the plants in the US. We have 1 QA room for every 2 machines. So that basically means there's a QA person listening to every 25th record off of each of 2 machines that are running during each shift. It's not the entire record from start to finish, but certain portions. So say they leave off on the first track, well then the next copy they go to, they're going to go to the second track, and over the course of a run, they're going to hear the same record start to finish, depending on the size of the run, 10, 20, 30 times. And you will catch things, and we do have to stop the press to make adjustments. In most cases, hopefully, it's just something pressing related, which means non-fills getting a little bit out of control, or stitching's getting a lot out of control, or there's a blemish, and there's things you can do on the press to alleviate those. More extreme cases, it's a stamper scratch, and then you have to go back and find where the scratch happened, whether it's 25 copies back or 50 copies back, whatever it might be, and you have to scrap those. And you have to pull the stamper, and you have to put a new stamper in and start over. And it's a real expense. Probably our biggest expense is quality control. But at the end of the day, I'm very confident that the records we ship are the best that they can be. And knock on wood, if there's any wood in sight, we really don't have very many complaints once the records leave our door. The complaints that happen once in a while usually can be shipping related, which I'd like to say we would try to control that as well. But fortunately, manufacturing defects are pretty rare, at least from what I've seen. The thing that I get asked the most is, what does a hand pour record and what is a wax mage record. Those are two things that we do. We have a couple of employees that have a business on the side called Wax Mage Records, which is essentially a label, but they do artistic colors of records for specific customers. So if you want a Wax Mage edition of your record, you can order that and they can make something really special in a very low quantity. So oftentimes people will see either on Instagram or somebody mentions, hey, they can do those Wax Mage records. That's what that is. And then hand pour records is another similar thing where it's just really wild colors, and they're literally being done by hand. There's some vinyl coming out of the extruder, but there's also some vinyl color being put onto the mold itself by hand. And you get some really crazy results with that. The big thing to me is, as it's been repetitively said here, is quality is king. If we want this resurgence to continue and we want consumers to stay interested in the format, then quality is king. We want people to be satisfied with what they purchase.
This video is sponsored by Music Direct. Find all the records and audio equipment you need at musicdirect.com.